moving on to the rosette, central part of the rosette on this design, you can see I already got started a bit, and my goal with this design, with the state being overlaid on the rosette, is to look like the rosette is a separate thing carved on its own, and then the state of Michigan was just kind of placed on top of it. So to do that, part of the technique I use is having this, all of the edges that form the outline of the state to be almost vertical. So for these standard cuts, we aim for the 55 to 65 degree angle, and you can see the kind of medium grade there. This line is a lot steeper. I don't know, maybe more like 75 or 80 degrees. And I think that helps offset the state outline from the rest of the design to make it look kind of like a separate part instead of just blending in as part of it. So that's a technique I use. But at the same time, I want the rest of the chips to look the same, as though this wasn't on top. So for this one, you can see the Upper Peninsula overlaps a little bit, and so I drew the dotted line to show what the full shape of this segment of the rosette would look like. And just like you can see over here, we've got the recessed parts. It would look something like this. Got the deepest part there with a line coming that way, slight curved line there, and a slight curved line there. So that's what it would look like, which means this line right here is going to be the only part that's visible, since the rest of this is all behind the UP. And similarly, this is going to be obviously the mirror image of that one. So coming out there, and then here's the center line, so put this kind of halfway between those two. So I want that. I do want to be able to see the deepest part of the chip right here, but then I want this section of it to be steeper than the other. So that's just something that I keep in mind as I carve, as I cut, that I do want to be able to see kind of the original shape, even with the kind of different alterations that's made with this technique. So to do that, I go ahead and, this is my normal knife angle, stand the knife up, rotate it around like this a fair bit, and otherwise it's pretty similar to standard. So right there I've got the tip down at the deepest part, and then I'll kind of draw up. And so right here is the end of that chip. Here's the central line. So the outline of the state kind of continues this way. I'm going to stop it right there since that's the end of this chip. And now, and get back into that line, now I want to drive the line, the knife, down to that center part where it would have otherwise been if I were making this full chip. And the rest of this is going to be pretty normal here. So I use the same knife angle and techniques as I normally would. And because these aren't all the same angles, it's pretty common for me to have more likelihood of chips not coming out right away. So that's not too surprising, also not a big deal. So I'll just continue to kind of using the same techniques. Go ahead and try to finish out this chip. So I can tell right there that was a big part that hadn't gotten done. And these chips do definitely take longer to carve. Requires more patience. If I can break some of this out to kind of see what's going on where it's hung up. So that side's free. Looks like it's this part over here. And again, this darker wood just has a different texture, different kind of grain behavior that I'm working with as well. Alright, so there's that section, and really you can see just this little kind of triangle here is the part that didn't get carved out because of the silhouette. So continuing on now, I've got just this little, almost a 3-corner chip coming out right here. I'm going to bring the tip of the knife basically all the way to this line, again to give that illusion of the chip kind of continuing behind the state. And then this next one's going to be a little bit trickier. If you can see, got kind of the dotted outline here of where it would be. So the deepest part of the chip would be about there. I'm going to completely miss these two segments of the central line, but otherwise kind of coming right through here is where that would be. And so it's actually cuts the chip into 2 separate pieces. There's one little tiny piece down here that I'll go ahead and cut out just to get that kind of out of the way here. Not a whole lot to this one. Alright, so kind of standard deal here. We'll push the knife down to that center line there, but again keeping the tip up against the silhouette of the state. And kind of come around following that silhouette. And then stop once I hit it. And this gets a little bit more challenging here with the really curvy section. So now that I've carved that outline, I actually need a little bit of my standard angle to get down to that bottom line. kind of cleaning up some of the little slivers and shavings that don't quite get caught in the piecewise carvings here. So that's about it. That's the technique here with the steeper angles and following the outline on top of another chip, and you'll kind of see what it looks like once this is done and you have the full view of the state on top.